If you want your tracks to sound like this, or like this. But they end up sounding much weaker. I have 4 simple tips today that can help you out. The number one biggest problem is shy leads. When you start producing, everybody teaches you how to make your mix balanced. So a good mix is balanced, but oftentimes a pro mix will be unbalanced to make the emotions reflected stronger in the mix. What do I mean by this? So this is my new track, Eclipse, released on Ritter Butske. Listen to this breakdown. So everything is pointing out for a big drop, but if I made my mix more balanced, it would have sounded like this. It wouldn't reflect that powerful feeling I'm trying to create with this track. I want to go this huge break, that fierce feeling, right? So what you can do, I'm gonna intentionally tilt the mix and make the lead sound louder than a balanced mix. I'm gonna give like 5 dB here, really boost it. Listen again. How that lead sounds really taking over the mix, and because it's so dirty or so aggressive, suddenly the feeling that I'm going for is really 100% reflected, even though my mix is unbalanced. This is really important to understand to become a better mixer. If you want to have sounds and samples that sounds really pro and make difference in your projects, take a look at my samples and preset packs. For example, this Nebulous Serum presets. Sound pretty strong and huge. The second biggest problem is flat dynamics or ignoring the contrast. I'm gonna keep going with the same track. In this case, we were having this build up. And you will see that I intentionally created this very quiet area. The purpose of this, like anything that comes after will sound bigger intentionally because of this very loud jump. If we didn't have this one, it would have sounded like this. What just happened? The problem is the contrast. We are very loud before the drop, and after the drop we are still loud. Now let's go back with more emphasized dynamics. So whenever you want something to be stronger, consider contrast between previous section that you have before the big part comes in, and you can consider this in whole track. That contrast make your song perceived stronger because of that. If you are enjoying the video up to now, please consider like and subscribe. It really helps a ton. Another big reason that your songs sound weak is you are not putting enough attention to your melodic elements. What do I mean by that? If you consider your track as a big building, I will say melodies and hooks are the design, what people see first when they look at your building. I see a lot of times people having really good vocals, really good foundation, but then they just ruin it by really mediocre arpeggio or mediocre melody. For that arpeggio example, I have this one. Listen here. This will be a very typical example. The reason could be maybe the producer doesn't have enough knowledge or confidence to explore a bit more advanced arpeggio patterns, but in this case, like here we have this beautiful vocal, everything is working on, but then arpeggio makes everything so flat. A better melodic element here would be really an element that follows our chords here. rhythmically and also follows the chord progression. Like if we do that, we have something like this instead. It follows a similar pattern of chords and it follows the chord progression. It also alters a bit more variation, so it sounds a bit more complicated. And let's see how that sounds now. Do you hear how arpeggio stops when the chord progression has these small tiny bits of silences? This makes everything more coherent and glued. So spend time on your melodic elements to really make the outside of your building shiny and polished and entertaining. One of the overlooked problems with the weak songs are neglecting the emotional impact. We are in the same track and we have this really gorgeous break.
Save me from my lost in grief. Falling to my hunger. It's the only sacrifice I need. Put your body under.
Something is wrong, isn't it? We have to go after the emotions that the vocals are reflecting in this track. Listen to the vocals.
Save me from my lost in grief. Falling to my hunger.
So the vocal is having this like emotional breakdown, like she's lost, she needs somebody to save her, she's kind of a bit hopeless, she's having this like emotional hurricane, right? We have to reflect it, and that is really important. And as a producer, it's your job to really match the vocals' emotions. Okay, how can you create such an emotion with an instrument? It's not that easy. But in this case, I think I know the answer. The answer is creating the lostness. And for that, we have two options, right? The first one will be really detuning our sawtooth, giving this desperation, this almost like dissonance to create the similar feeling. Now everything is more detuned and of course the cutoff is a bit more open. That detune, do you hear it? Like, let me pull it down. Back. And then make it even more like that hurricane feeling, that lostness. We can make it by maybe adding a bit more noise, so it's even more like noisy and white, I will say. Do you hear just the emotional difference between this and this? And you know what I do? I use it a layer, that coming in the break and dropping in the drop. Listen to the same part of the song with the new emotional design synthesizer.
Save me from my lost in grief. Falling to my hunger.
Matching the vocal.
It's the only sacrifice I need. Put your body under.
Now, this is the reason you should always consider the emotional impact to make your songs stronger. If you want to learn more about pro tracks, take a look at here. I have more videos there.